This week, along with journalists in Britain, where the story has been broken by Sky News, and in other parts of the world where the drug was prescribed, we've been looking at Primodos, which was given to women in the late 60s and early 70s to determine whether they were pregnant. Now, pharmaceutical company Bayer emphatically denies any link between Primodos and birth defects, but the weight of evidence is stacking up against them. And in New Zealand, the drug was withdrawn in 1975 because of increasing misgivings about the risk it posed. Karl Murphy was born with many of the birth defects it's claimed Primodos caused. He spent years working to establish that a drug containing active ingredients at higher levels than the morning after pill was responsible for shaping his life literally. Teased mercilessly at school, called monster child and excluded from many normal activities, his 41 years have been lived as a very visible example of what Primodos could do.
My visible bit is the top of me mouth, where my lip is, just under your nose. When I was born, that was missing. My fingers are, if you look at your fingers of a normal person, on my left hand, they're down to my knuckles. On my right hand, doctors, medical professions call it a lobster hand because it looks like a lobster claw. My feet, my left foot has no toes at all and is only half a foot. My right toe is also, my right foot, has got my fourth toe missing. To add to this, there's a possibility, and this could have only been found last year, there could be a heart deformity due to having a heart attack.
And your mum took Primodos to find out whether or not she was pregnant? Yes,
she was given it twice. The first time she was given it as a pregnancy test. It was, and she miscarried. She aborted. The second time she was given it in 1972. I was born in 1973. And I was born as I've just described. We have the proof of this, as we have my mother's medical notes to prove this. My brother was born in 1980. No tablets of Primodos was given, and he's able-bodied.
And so you have spent much of your life trying to put the jigsaw puzzle together. And how persuaded are you now that Primodos is responsible for what you call your abnormalities?
I got a computer in 2007, started investigating the chemicals, the drug. A lot of it was coming up like about deformities, abortion, and this just went on. And it was only, when my mum said there was stuff in her loft and I went up, I couldn't believe what I had found. I had found internal documents of the drug company. I tell you now, I am 110% this drug has done the damage. No doubt. And with the new evidence that Sky News have also found in all these archives in Berlin and also in London, and all the other victims who have found it as well, all the other people who found it, Mary Lyons and all the other victims who've been on the research for this, I'm convinced, and I will take it to my death, that this drug has done the damage.
What do you want now, Karl? Given what you have been through, what do you want from Bayer, the drug company, from the health authorities who somehow inexplicably allowed a drug about which there was considerable doubt and considerable misgivings to keep being prescribed to women, pregnant women? What do you want?
I think basically an apology, and that basically I think they need to admit that they've got this seriously wrong. I mean, the proof is here to show they have seriously neglected the care of a lot of victims, all these victims, and also the trouble I've got, obviously, through my own life and what I've had to put up with, job-wise, my career. Obviously now I don't work, I can't work. I think obviously there needs to be some sort of compensation scheme, either by the drug company or by the government. But there needs to be answers to put all these families, basically, all these families are blaming themselves. These people need a closure. They really do need a closure. I want a closure on this now.
The extraordinary thing is, Sky are literally, explicitly saying Primodos is responsible for the sorts of what you call abnormalities that you and so many people have suffered. And normally drug companies would sue and attempt to silence them, but Bayer have almost disappeared without trace. What have they said to you?
Bayer actually met me in 2009. I have an email where they met me in a hotel in Staffordshire in 2009 in the UK. When I met them, I showed them information I had, and I showed them a documentary that I also have, which also showed the dosage of the chemicals that was in this drug, which I have always suspected as causing the deformities. At the end of the meeting, and we're talking, this was like a 4 to 5 hour meeting in the hotel, they said, would I accept a goodwill gesture? What that gesture was, they never told me. But when I turned around and said, this is going to be for everybody who's been damaged by this drug, the meeting was stopped and closed. Now, I have no paperwork, I have no evidence I can't show that to you. I can only give you word of mouth of the meeting. I can show the meeting took place with me in the hotel because I have the emails for them to arrange the meeting with me. But why did they want me to shut up? Because I have the internal documents of the drug company.
Karl, this is really important. Do you believe they were trying to buy your silence?
Yes.
And your silence couldn't be bought?
No.
Karl Murphy speaking to us from Liverpool earlier today. Drug company Bayer have declined to be interviewed again in response to Karl or regarding the numbers of women who may have been prescribed the drug here. The Ministry of Health says it's still waiting for that information from Bayer. This afternoon, the Ministry said it received 6 calls relating to Primodos since the story broke this week. MedSafe has been directly contacted by somewhere less than 10 women who may have been prescribed the drug here between 1966 and 1975. We spoke to one of those women earlier in the week.